What's going on, everybody? How you feeling today, man? It's your boy, Uncle P, man, and I'm live from the Cultivating Mature Positivity Studios here in Chester, Pennsylvania, man. And right now with me, I have a young man. We had a conversation yesterday. He called me and said, I want to be a guest on the radio station, on whatever show you can get me on, because I want to talk about crime. I want to talk about gun violence. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about how. I said, bro, you got a lot of things you want to talk about, bro. So, I'm cool with having a conversation because this is what we do here at cmpradio.net, right? So if you ever want to have a conversation or is there anything that you want to talk about, man, hit me up and we can do it. We can absolutely do it. Alim, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Pete. Thanks for having me on your radio program. I appreciate it.
No problem, bro. No problem. It's not just mine. It's ours. Not just mine. It's ours, man. You're located where exactly?
I'm in Upper Darby.
Upper Darby.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's going on in Upper Darby or around in your area that you feel as though the need to hit up cmpradio.net and talk about what's going on?
Well, actually, it's not just Upper Darby now. It's just it's a bit of everywhere. It's Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, and the city of Philadelphia. And I thought talking to you with your platform and stuff, you're a good brother to talk to. And I read in the Delco Times not too long ago that a 22-year-old young man just got shot in Chester and stuff. And see, I want to talk about just a little bit about this gun violence that's happening everywhere. And, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit and then see what your thoughts about it were. And, it's just I just want, as a citizen in Upper Darby or Chester or Philly or even Lower Merion, Ardmore, wherever. It's just, I just want the gun violence and the negativity to stop with our own people.
Right.
That's all. And then, the celebrities, like, look what just happened to Gilly the Kid. I think Wallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see if that can happen to his son, Gilly the Kid is a celebrity, but then you see what happened with his son in Philly.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's his son.
Right.
And I'm just like, that means, sometimes it takes a big example for something to happen that's real, real tragic, and it'll get everyone's attention for people to be like, all right, maybe we should just cut it down a little bit and then just try to curb it and decrease the gun violence. And then what are your thoughts as a Chester citizen?
As a Chester citizen, as a United States citizen, I understand that we, meaning, residents of Chester, residents of Upper Darby, without coming together, we can't have anything, right? Without unifying and saying, okay, this doesn't work for me, right? And it doesn't work for no one else, right? Because you just brought up Gilly and his son, right? I saw a post today where he has some pictures of his son. I can only imagine how much that hurts to bury his son. I only have one son. I have 6 daughters. And the reason I changed my life was for my son, right? To give my son another option, to give my son somewhere else he can go. When I said I was done, me and my son were sitting there counting money. I was counting the big bills and he was counting the ones and fives. And it was just like, it hit me. You ever had a vision and it shake you to your core? It's like, oh, it was me looking at my son in the coffin. And I knew I couldn't go on with that. So I said, all right, I'm done. And I didn't know what I was going to do, right? I spent the next couple months trying to figure it out. I got into an altercation at the RS club, which further led me to say, you know what, I'm done. Because I had a bunch of people in my downstairs living room, and they were ready to ride out for me, right? And I didn't want anybody to get hurt from what I dealt with. And it was my fault. I put myself in that situation. But I said, I'm done. I walked away. I went to therapy. I talked to a therapist. The therapist told me, he asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I said, what you mean? I'm 36. I'm grown. He said, no, you're 16. So a lot of the children, a lot of the people that are affected by gun violence, they're affected by so many other things too. Post-traumatic stress, one parent household. Mom is the parent, mom is coddling. And I don't have a problem with a woman coddling her child, protecting her child. But at some point, you have to let them go. And you got to let the father come in and teach him the things that a man should say, the things that a man should do, the way a man should handle problems. And we don't know that, right? Because a lot of us are coming from one-parent households. My father died when I was 12 years old, so I only had my mother. So from an example, understanding that my mother let me get away with whatever I wanted to do. My father wasn't having it. You feel me? So you need a man who knows he's a man that understands that he's for discipline to step foot and help your kids out. So for us, I liken what we deal with, something we have been dealing with for a very long time, to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we shut everything down. Nobody can touch anybody. Nobody can go anywhere. Let's figure this out. Let's stop everything and let's figure out what's wrong and why is this thing killing people and knocking people off. I talked to Dr. Kristen Motley. Shout out to Dr. Kristen Motley, keeping it 100. I said, until I see a teenager die from COVID, I'm not taking a shot. I did never see a teenager die. So it was only attacking the youngest of us, the babies, and the elderly. You feel me? And people that had pre-existing conditions. So for me, it was like, that's kind of like the planet just weeding out the ones that aren't strong enough to survive it. Whoever survives it. Whoever can't. But that's not how we should handle things. I think we need to come together. I think we need to share with each other. We need to share ideas. Shout out to the Delaware County District Attorney's Office for starting Chester Partnership for Safe Neighborhoods. Shout out to Corey Long for the G-Vine Group. Shout out to Raheem for Safe Corridors. We're now putting people that have experience in the neighborhood to work in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? And that's what it. You can say, "Oh man, we need more police." Well, if the police grew up in Haverford and went to school in Radnor, how is he going to tell somebody growing up in Chester what they should do and what they shouldn't do? It's a whole culture shock. It's a difference. And if you're only coming to be a police officer to kick the cage of the dog, if you want to go to a vet and see the dogs go crazy, go in there and kick the cage and see what the dogs start doing. They start barking, biting. Then you let them out and they bite each other. You know what I mean? Because they're aggressive. They're mad. So that's what happens. So I feel like if you allow the people to come together and you allow the people to help each other, and the residents also have to understand that we have to become a community again. If we're not willing to become a community, then we're willing to be victims, and we got to stop being victims.
What do you think makes young men, especially under the age of 21, get so frustrated and mad and in their mindset to go out and take a weapon, which is their gun, and shoot somebody? Why do they keep doing that all over in the United States?
Do you ever been in so much pain that you can't reach out and touch anyone, that no one knows what you're going through, no one hears you, no one hears your voice, and then you find something that is the loudest thing that you've ever heard, and you fire it, and you're hoping somebody sees that you're in pain, but they don't see the pain that you feel, right? They see the pain that you caused, and they want to put you in jail. And they don't want to help you. They don't want you to get rehabilitated, because that's what jail is supposed to be. Rehabilitation. It's not. It's incarceration. You're locked up. There's no rehabilitation inside incarceration. It doesn't work that way. So what we have is 21-year-olds that just want to be heard. They've never been allowed to be heard. And then they're already in pain. Somebody steps on their sneakers. Somebody texts their girlfriend. Somebody looks at their girlfriend. Somebody says something left to them. And automatically it's, I don't care. It's on site. Well, that's what they're used to, because they're in pain. That's the loudest thing that they had. That gunshot. The first time I ever fired a gun, I thought somebody would come outside and ask me, "Are you okay?" But nobody never came outside to ask me that. And I was like, damn, I just fired this gun and nobody's worried about who got hit. If anybody got hit, like, no lights came on. I stood there for like 5-10 minutes waiting for lights to come on. I was like, oh yeah, it's just a gunshot. Ain't no big deal. So to me, it was like, all right, don't nobody care. If I didn't have my father up until I was 12 years old, and my uncle David, and my uncle Lamont, I had a lot of men around me that made sure I understood what it took to be a man, and that it was okay to cry, and it was okay to say how I felt. You feel me? I wasn't a whole bunch of macho men saying, "Man, you can't cry. That ain't right." No, express your feelings. Tell people how you feel. If you don't tell anybody how you feel, how is anybody supposed to know how you feel? So for that, The 21-year-olds, they need therapy, right? We have to get therapy into the community. Shout out to Chester Community Coalition. Alexa Clark, she was in charge of that, right? She's no longer in charge of that, but shout out to the people that are working inside of that group to get people therapy so that people can go and talk. You know, if you're missing your father, if your father's passed away, if your father's locked up, or if your mother passed away, if your mother's locked up, you can get the help that you need, right? And that's what we've started here in the city of Chester, right? We're working together in unison with every organization to get the cob to turn. The car can't, we got to get it to turn. So we got to work together. You handle therapy, you in the community, you handle the police, you handle the DA, you handle the community, you handle the people underneath of the community that don't want to be seen, don't want to be touched, but you can go in there and talk to them and give them what they need, right? Hope. That's it. That's all.
I agree with what you said earlier about the coronavirus put a real madness in all of us because we were all had to follow protocols and rules. And that's what really set the time to tick off in everyone. Right. White, black, brown, yellow people. Everyone was just really upset about the coronavirus. And I agree with you there. Right. But then as you see year by year, especially starting in our 2020 decade era generation, it's still the same story. It's almost like we're back in the 90s again, but it's even worse with the violence. Why is it keep repeating itself every year? Like you just named all these great organizations and people that are helping in Chester and Delaware County and all that. But then why is it always the same exact thing every year with our people, especially?
It's hard to put a lid on something that nobody understands, right? If you don't understand how it breathes and what fuels it, you can't put a lid on it, right? You can't stop it. Like it'd be impossible for us to be able to stop every homicide. Right? Because guns are still being made. You understand what I'm saying? So the ability to buy a gun and to shoot somebody is still there. Regardless, if we were to stop somebody could get shot. You know what I mean? Somebody could get hurt. So the fact that it's still there, I think the fact that we have so many guns in our community, I said we have to start teaching our children how to use guns. And everybody say, P, you tripping? Look at the school shootings that happen. I was like, look at the school shootings that happen. And when they happen in those areas, they're astonished because they don't have people dying every day in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So when a school shooting happened, it's like, oh my God, why did he go do that? But I guarantee that kid, well, there are some children who their parents bought the gun and different things like that. But if you teach a child how to carry a gun, how to shoot a gun correctly, and show them what a gun does, I guarantee you that will stop most of the shootings that happen. If I go out to the county right now and visit with at least 10 of the young men that are out there for a shooting incident, they're sorry they pulled the gun out. But I guarantee you at the end of their story, they're going to say, man, it was either him or me. So if the saying is, I'd rather be caught with it than without it, you really understand that I'd rather be alive and not dead. And that's really all our children have. They'd rather be alive in jail and not dead. Mom would rather see her son locked up and not dead. So if that's all our children have, what else are they supposed to do? And this is everywhere. This isn't just Chester. This isn't just Upper Darby. This is throughout the United States. This is probably throughout the world. Wherever there are black faces, this is what we deal with. Right. They put guns in our neighborhood. They put drugs in our neighborhood. Here, have fun. Then they come in, bring the police in, swoop in, and they lock up the ones that they can. The ones that they can't lock up end up killing somebody else, or somebody end up killing them. And it's a system that can't be changed until we understand why we're like this. Until we come together and say, you know what? I understand. Let me help this young man. I tell everybody every day, man, you got to give people hope. You got to give them direction.
And, you know, coming off what you just said just now, sometimes I talk to senior citizens, rather it be church, former church members and all that, but they're senior citizens. You know what they say is, they said, you know, sometimes we never knew President Barack Obama or Michelle Obama would be in office. The point is, they never thought they would see black faces that are in charge and have some sort of say in the system. You know, this world is it's a majority a white world, which I'm not mad at. You know what I'm saying? Really. I have white friends, they're white associates and all that. But like, we're only like less than 20% of the population. But then the senior citizens would say, black senior citizens would say, all back in the day, in the 60s, the 50s, and all that, we did not see one single black face. There wasn't a black mayor, black council people back in those days. But see, now in the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020, we see black faces that are our age group, older age group, everyone, you know what I'm saying? There's black people that are leaders, and then we still act a fool. And that's what senior citizens say. And what's your response to something like that?
I mean, it's not going to reach everyone. You know, I wish there was a way to show children that they could be more, that they could want more, right? Sometimes you got to start at the lower generation, right? You got to go down to kindergarten, first grade, and implement these things and these teachings and these studies and these thoughts into those children's head. But it's hard. It's hard for a parent to do it alone. A single mother, it's hard for her. A single father, it's hard for them. And I say all the time, like people always ask me, like, how do you feel about your children's mothers? I love them, and as much as I can help them out, I will. You know what I mean? Like, I will continue to love them, even if they're with somebody else, right? I love them for the sake of my children. You feel me? I want good things to happen to them for the sake of my children. I want to work with them as a team. Listen, I didn't plan on it being this way, but we're not together. I have other children, but we're on a team. We're on a team raising our children. Your child are a part of my children. You know what I mean? So if you're off and you don't feel right and you're broken, that means that brokenness is getting passed down to my daughter. Then when she comes back and she brings her brokenness into a situation, now everybody's looking at her like, what's wrong with her? You know what I mean? So it's best that we have a relationship that is rooted on the fundamental of the relationship is a friendship. The fundamentalist of the relationship is we are working together as a team to raise our child up, because that's what we're doing. We're pouring water on her. We're making sure she gets enough sun. You know, we're raising her up and make sure she blooms as the flower she should be.
Mm-hmm. One thing too is that the Safer Communities tour, with our Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis just did, that put a good helping hand and stuff with that tour. But then you see the next week more gun violence happens, and then I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's a lot of talk about money, and I just say, what money? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, it just has to be. People just gotta sometimes stay inside, and they gotta cool off. Like you said, the part about therapy. That's a good avenue to go in, because what makes someone want to pick up a gun and then shoot someone else? How mad are you going to get? You know what I'm saying? Like
pain, like literal pain. Or you're just too high to realize what you're doing, and you're smoking and drinking with your homies, and somebody ride past, or you got a beef, and you see somebody, and your homies like, you ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, what you mean I ain't gonna do nothing, man? Go shoot him then. Then he goes shoot him like, oh man, I didn't think he was gonna do that, but you told him to go do it, right? You didn't say, nah, bro, you right, you ain't gotta do that. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's giving good energy anymore. And again, it's out of hope, man. No one has a dream past the front porch. No one has a dream past the corner. You know what I mean? You have to want something in order to be something. You know what I mean? If you don't want anything, you can't possibly be anything. What you want to be? I don't know. Why don't you know? Why can't you put any thought into that? Like, what do you see yourself as 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself at in 10 years? I can't do that. Why can't you do that? So there's no hope. There's no vision. There's no love. So once we get back to love, that's why I wear these shirts, right? Peace, I love you, right? And I say it every day. I'm on Facebook every day saying that, peace, I love you, man. I love you. If nobody told you this morning, I love you, because I do. You know, I love my community. I could have left. I could have went down Delaware, did the radio station down there. I could have went anywhere. You feel me? But I choose to do it here in my city because Chester is such a small knit, and it's like a family, bro. It's really like a family. Like everybody said, the connection. It's, if you get out into the community, you give people hope, and another person picks up what you says and give it to somebody else, and they give it to somebody else. You're connecting them through hope and vision, and hopefully, you know, you'll reach the little kids, and maybe somebody picks up a gun one day. I'm gonna kill him, and somebody walks up on him and say, "Nah, bro, don't do that. You ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta kill him. You can go fight him if you want." You feel me? We could go talk about what your problem is, and then you go talk about it, and you figure it out that it's not even a real problem. Now, I could, oh man, if I would have known it wasn't real, we could have been had this conversation. But it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people to understand what they need to do, how they need to give things, and people don't always do what they want to do. They do what they think they want to do, and they'll pull out that gun and they'll shoot somebody, and it's over.
When do you think this will all end? Like, it'll decrease, it'll curb, it'll really go down. All this gun violence and crime, especially with our people. When do you think it'll really go down all the way, or we won't see it repeating all the time?
Like I said, as long as we have guns and AR-15s and the assault rifles that we have, and people can make ghost guns and they can be made on a printer inside. You don't even have to go to the store to buy a gun anymore. Like, you can make a gun on a printer. Does that make sense? If I can make a gun on a printer, all I gotta do is go buy bullets. They don't ask me for no ID to buy bullets. How come you don't need no ID to buy bullets? How come I don't need a gun license to buy bullets? But I need a gun license to buy a gun, when the bullets are the most important thing. Without the bullets, you can't shoot nobody. So everybody can have a gun, but nobody can have a bullet. Watch how fast people start fighting then. You can't shoot nobody. You picking the gun, this is going click, click, click. You can't do anything. So yeah, ration out the bullets. You can make all the guns you want, but ration out the bullets. In your lifetime, you can only buy 100 bullets. Once you reach 100, that's it. People wouldn't be out here shooting everybody like that. So, it's a different process. It's a different thought process in the buying guns and having guns. Me personally, I believe we have to teach our children, our young men, how to handle themselves with guns. You look at the Black Panther Party back in the 60s. That's what they were about, teaching their kids and their youth how to protect their neighborhoods. We think about the Bloods and the Crips. You feel me? They weren't always about fighting each other. They were there. They were started to fight the other gang that was coming into their neighborhood, tearing their neighborhood up. They had blue and red lights on top of their cars and walking in and kicking people in the face and beating mom up and beating dad up and pulling dad and locking dad up and pulling dad away from the house. Like, so the Bloods and the Crips, they weren't always about ganging with each other. They were about protecting their neighborhood. But then the drugs came in. And we already know, if you ever seen Snowfall, who brought the drugs over? Who gave us access to the drugs? So here, take these drugs. Oh, I got some guns. Now watch what they do. So until we understand who we are, until we understand who we love, until we understand who we should follow, and we follow each other, and we support each other, and we love each other, we're going to keep on getting the exact same thing. We got a couple comments on this joint.
Mm.
I'm in support of the education of protection. Education of protection is important, man. It's extremely important. Christy Barnes says the government. Zuline Mayfield, man, who is an environmental protector, man. Family Circle, C4, everything that she's doing. She says, hello all. How you doing, Zuline? But that's important. Until we get to that point, man, and we stop being, my grandma was scared to death of guns. Like, scared to death of guns. Put the gun down. Don't give him no gun. Don't let him play with no gun. Everybody's scared of the gun. It's not so much the gun as it is the person. Right? Because if that person is hurting that bad, they'll take a knife to someone. If a person is in that much pain that they can't vocalize it and say it, they're going to hurt somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Vocalize it and say it. Just, you can have a full blown out loud argument in the street or whatever, but then to pull out the weapon and kill your own kind. That's the thing. And sometimes there's a few nonprofits. One of them, my father, Andrew Howell, he founded the Race for Peace Committee, and he lives out in Darby, Colwyn. And then another one is Urban Navigation. And like what you were saying about the gun education, he's the founder of that. His name is Don Jackson, and he's also the co-founder of Philadelphia Technician Training Institute. So he agrees too about the gun education, teaching young men and young women how to use guns and operate a gun. Right. And then try to obtain a license for a gun.
Yes.
And the other one, when we were on the phone, the Men of Action Brothers of Faith, that's Hameem Diggins. And he's a family member and a relative and stuff. And then that's Men of Action Brothers of Faith is throughout Delaware County. And that's a mentorship for young men ages 9 to 19. But when you talked about the gun education, at first I didn't really agree with because Don told me that a few years ago. And he wanted to do the same thing. And then I don't understand though, like teaching them how to use a gun is good, but maybe not having a gun at all, right?
No,
Just don't do it at all.
That's over. The days of not having a gun are gone. What's your Second Amendment? You can carry it. I'm saying we're going all the way back to 1776. You have the right to carry a gun. Guns back then were important. They've always had guns, right? And they put guns into our neighborhood for a reason. So you said earlier, we are the minority. I don't believe we are the minority. I believe there are enough black people throughout the world that makes us the majority. And that's why they went on banning abortion, right? So yeah, they can get their numbers up, right? Because they're looking at it. They're looking at growth potential. You look at the Spanish heritage people. They're having children. They're growing exponentially. Black people, we're growing, right? But we're so disjointed. We're so disconnected with each other that we don't understand how we're growing. You know what I mean? Dad has 8 kids. Mom has 2 kids. Like that's a family of 10, literally. But we don't connect it. We don't make sure we're working together in unison to make sure things go. Man, like what we could accomplish if we just worked together. What we could get done if we just sat and worked together and said, all right, brother, listen, this is my problem. I'm going to help you with that. All right, sister, this is your problem. I'm going to help you with that. We come together and we move forward. Without that, we can't do anything. And then our children don't see us fighting. They see the adults. I tell people all the time, watch how you fight in front of your kids, bro. For the people that are in leadership and you out here fighting and calling people names and doing this, you don't see those kids watching you? So if you're doing it, why wouldn't they do it? If you're in leadership and you're doing it, why wouldn't they do it? In any group. Why? Why wouldn't the kids follow right behind you? But see, they got guns. You don't have guns. You don't got real beef with this person you talking about. You just talking. But they got real beef. And they said, well, if Mr. Pierre is arguing with Abdul, I'm going to argue, but I'm going to pull my gun out and use it. That hurts, bro. That hurts. So yeah, man, we have to teach people how to use guns. I know it sounds harsh, it's scary, but what's the other alternative? Think about it. For the last 30 years, 40 years, we've been dealing with death in our community, bro, at our front door.
How do we take the guns off the streets?
You can't take the guns off the street. There, man. I just told you, you can buy a machine and you can make your own gun. You don't need to buy it from Smith & Wesson. You can make your own gun on a 3D printer. You can't take the guns off the street. They got ghost guns out here now. Don't have no serial numbers on it. You can't take the guns off the street. You can educate our children to make sure they understand what a gun can do. You can put our kids, listen, when they summertime, take them to the gun range, let them see it, shoot a watermelon, let them see what happens when they shoot a body. Look what happens when you shoot this gun. Come in, talk to their mother, the mother of a child that was killed. That's his age. How much that mother misses her child. Have her talk to the kids, right? Have her talk to the mothers. It's hard. I would be the last person to say, and Abdul Wakil, he just said it, right? He just said, let me bring it up. Death is no joke. Losing a life and or taking your own. We have to deal with death at a rapid clip in our community. We lose people. I don't want to say every day, but it seems like every day we're losing somebody. We can lose them via a gunshot, or we can lose them via natural causes, right? So yes, we're losing people every day. But if we don't instruct and teach our children how to conduct themselves in this world that is vastly, it changes from one day to the next. It's a whole different situation out here. We don't teach our children how to conduct themselves around guns, how a gun is important, how a gun is not your vocal cords, bro. It might make the loudest sound. It might attract the most people, but that's not telling nobody that you're in pain and that you're hurting. I guarantee I could go out to the county right now and visit at least 10 young men out in all reds, bro. And they will tell me the exact same thing. It was either him or me, life or death. And if I have that to choose, I'm going to choose death for him, not for me. Like, why, man, I ain't mean to do it, man. I ain't had no other choice, bro. He see me in the store, man. He pulled the gun out. He was going to kill me, bro. Like, it's real. But who taught you how to fire a gun? Nobody. Who taught you how valuable gun safety is? Nobody. We don't push the issues we should push. We too busy saying, all right, close the gun store down. The gun manufacturers make millions of dollars. They're not going to close no gun store down because you asking for it. They're not going to change the fact that they can put a button on a 9mm. You can print a button for a 9mm and fire 50 shots. It's easy. But until we come forward and we say, man, listen, talk to the kids about guns, man. We take them to whatever shooting range they got, and we show them, and we take them hunting. Maybe we take them hunting, let them shoot some deers. We got crazy amounts of deer somewhere. All right, let's take them hunting. Let's take them out there. Now you see what happens when you shoot something. Then make them clean that deer. Make them carry that deer back to the car. I guarantee they won't want to shoot nothing else.
What do you think the political leaders throughout Chester, Delaware County, anywhere could do more to try to curb it, though? Curb all the gun violence. You said keep the guns, gun education, okay. But then what can our political leaders do to try to just curb the crime and the violence as a whole?
Push that. Push teaching the kids about guns, right? And push entrepreneurialism, right? Teaching people how. Listen, man. I was talking to a young man the other day, and he was like, "I was a CEO of my organization. I didn't even know it." Right? He cuts grass now. Makes good money cutting grass. He's like, if I would have known who I was, then I wouldn't have never sold drugs. See, I had to go through that so I could understand who I am. It taught me a lot. I lost a lot too. I lost a lot of time. So I got to work even harder now. I'm the same way. I got to work. I'm 43 years old. I got to work like I'm 20, right? To keep this radio station running, to make sure I'm out here and I'm representing what I need to represent. It's hard. But if you teach entrepreneurialism, you show children that they can become, and the people that are something in our community need to come back and show the kids that they can be something too. Don't be scared of these kids, bro. Don't be scared of the fact that you have a business and you don't want nobody to have a business like yours and overtop you. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. How this works is by you not sharing the information that you got from where you got it from. You're damming up the well. And if you dam up the well, eventually it won't be no water in it for you or us. So teach the kids, man. Ms. Mayfield said, teach prevention, right? Teach utilization of what you have. How do you use the things that you have? Go into the school, make sure we're teaching what we need to be teaching in the schools. Parents, go to the parent-teacher conference and make sure the teachers are treating your kids correct. Make sure they're giving your kids the knowledge that they need, man. Stop sitting back and saying, I send them to school for that. You don't send them to school for that. It's not a daycare. When it was cool when it was a daycare from age birth to about 4 years old. It was cool that you just dropped them off and ain't worry about it. But kindergarten, what are you teaching little Isaiah? What are you making sure little Alyssa knows how to do? Right? And if you're not doing that, it's a problem. Anger management is another thing, right? These are different things that we can do in our community to help our community move forward. It's not just Chester. It's not just Upper Darby. It's not just Little Rock, Arkansas. It's not just Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's everywhere. And it's all around us. Black people. The first people. It's all around us. Whether we're divided, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're Israelite, whether you're still black. This thing right here connects us all. So anything that you deal with, I have to deal with. Anything that your neighbor deals with, you have to deal with. I tell everybody, man, if you go outside and you cut your grass and your neighbor's grass, both neighbors on the side, grass is growing, and you'll never cut their grass. Then one day your daughter over there playing on the edge of your lawn, somebody comes through and snatches her. Whose fault is that? It's yours because you had the tool to cut the grass, but you didn't cut it because it's your neighbor's grass. Or you didn't want to do it because your neighbor's not, man, cut that grass. I got to make sure my kids are safe. So if I got to make sure my kids are safe, I got to make sure your lawn is cut and your lawn is cut. It's just an extra 20 minutes. It ain't hard. But we're not willing to do that. We're not willing to make sure we're doing what we need to do to make sure our communities give us what they need to give us. We're not raising our children correctly. I was one of those people, bro. I wasn't worried about nobody but myself. I was making money. I was good. And it wasn't until I came into the radio station And shout out to my partner, man, Nafa T. Williams, bro. She hit me on a lot of things that I really wasn't paying attention to, right? And I've been paying attention ever since. And it's ugly, but I'm looking for solutions. I'm solution driven. If we've been trying to stop violence, how long has Power 99 been saying increase the peace? Stop the violence. Since at least the early 90s. Then they just stopped saying it, but now we have more violence than ever. The music we listen to, that's number one. Like that stuff should be on your personal CD somewhere else. It shouldn't be on the radio. I was listening to something and it said my booty hole and I was like, what the hell? This is what's on the radio. I'm looking at my daughter like, what? This is what you listening to? It's on the radio, Dad. Shocked me. But if we continue to let the ignorance perpetrate and come from us, then we're full of ignorance and our community is full of ignorance and the kids don't care and kids start shooting. And it's more younger children picking up the gun than it is an older person. You don't really have 35 and 36-year-old men running around with guns. You got babies, 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, outside hanging around. Somebody give them a gun to hold because they won't get locked up. Their mom can just come and pick them up. They grow up with that gun on their hip. Now they 12 and 13, talking about soon somebody come out here, I'm gonna smoke them. Huh? I'm gonna zap them. You gonna zap them? You can't respawn, bro. Ain't no coming back from that. But then if we're not teaching our kids this, bro, we're gonna keep on getting the same thing. This is gonna get worse. We lock our doors down. There was times when we left the doors unlocked overnight. Literally, I've left my apartment door unlocked so many nights, bro. Because, man, you tripping, bro. Anybody can walk in there and kill you. Well, if that's what they're going to do, that's what's going to happen. The door don't have to be unlocked for them to do that. They can kick the door down and do that. So,
what do you think about the word op? Because that's even worse because it's adding to the drama.
Words are spelling words. So words are just what they are, right? The words that you put out, you put a spell on top of whoever. Oh, that's my op. I don't like that person. All right, they could be your opposition, right? But you don't have to kill him. He could be from a competing block, right? You sell this, he sell that. That's your op. Okay, but we ain't got to kill him. We going out, we partying tonight, bro. Y'all both making money. Who needs to be the richest person? But that's the thing. The kids, they aren't hustling. I don't know. When I was younger, we was hustling. We was making money, right? We wasn't worried about shooting everybody. Maybe somebody was walking around robbing and doing that extra stuff, but still, like, we were worried about making money. Like, the kids aren't worried about making money. They just worried about, they want fear. They want respect. And then it pours down into the women that are being raised up. You feel me? If the women are okay with the coochie pink and my booty hole brown and all that extra stuff, then the boys don't have to stand up for anything. They don't have to be men. They can be boys, and the women will let them in. You feel me? Like, we have to think about everything that we're allowing our kids to listen to, everything we're allowing them to ingest and bring in, and try to just change it a little bit. I'm not pointing my finger at no one particular person and saying this is all wrong. Right? Maybe we all have it wrong. We all need to come together and we all need to talk about how we can improve. Right? I'm not saying one person is wrong. This is a whole pizza. It's 8 slices, and every one of these slices got pork pepperoni on it. I'm not eating it. So I'm not just pinpointing the music. I'm pinpointing the music, the education, the parenting. You feel me? The streets, the community. It was a time when you did something wrong in the community. By the time you got home, you probably got beat up about 3-4 times. Now, don't no other adult want to touch you, because if you touch somebody's kid, they're going to come up, oh, why you touching my son? Because your son was wrong. Your son was wrong. That's why I touched him. And if you don't allow a man to put his hands, he's going to run you ragged up and down the street. So there's a lot of things that we can do to change. We can give a lot of people direction. But if you're not willing to accept direction for yourself, that's when things go left.
Yeah, I appreciate this conversation. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Nah, you good, bro. I told you, man. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. You hit me up. You feel me? You said you wanted to come through. You want to do an interview. I ain't ask you no question. You interviewed me. You feel me? So I want to ask you. You want a show? Because that's who we are. That's where I am with conversations. Like, you know, people I don't know. So the only way I'm gonna know the people that you know is for you to go and interview them and talk to them about the things that need to change. You feel me? It could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour. I'm not being selfish with the radio station. I'm not. And I want everybody to hear me say this. This is a community radio station. This is for the voices of the community, whatever community it is. It could be Upper Darby, it could be Yaden, it could be Morton, it could be Brookhaven. If you are a person that wants to know what the hell's happening in your community, let's do it. CMP Radio, it's already here. The station's already here. It's proven. 6 years I've been doing this. And I've been asking the same thing. Come through. No, I don't want your girl to come through. No, I'm not going to tag your girl. No, I'm not going to do all that. I'm worried about constant elevation, bro. And I'm sorry if you're not capable of that. You feel me? And that's not you, bro. I'm talking to everybody else. I'm sorry if you're not capable of constant elevation. Every day I have to evolve. Every day I have to be better. Every day I have to come in and make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to make sure this radio station continues to run. Every day I need to hold myself accountable. Every day I need to be justified in my thoughts and my actions, bro. And if I can't do that and I can't be honest, then there's no reason for the radio station to be here. And I had to go through that growth, bro. I had to go through that 6 years in this radio station, bro. Right? Struggling, trying to understand why it's not working, why things not coming together. And it wasn't until this Ramadan when I really fasted and I stopped smoking cigarettes and I stopped bringing in the poison. I said, wow. This could work. It could really work. It could really help so many other people. And I focused on what I was doing. Man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed by the best, bro. Like, and I don't care what nobody says. You feel me? I love everybody. I give everybody the same treatment. I give you love. I give you respect. I give you what you want. No problem. Just give me the same thing. I just want love and respect. I just want to be talked to like a man. I don't want to be disrespected. You feel me? And I want my thoughts to be, I want you to think about when I say something, think about it for a couple seconds and spit it back at me if you don't agree with it. But everybody that's doing everything, I'm here. If you're walking dogs and you want people to help you walk dogs, well, come on the radio station and talk about your dog walking business. You feel me? If you're fighting for the environment, come on the radio station and talk about the things that you're fighting for our environment. If you're fighting for the kids, come on the radio station and talk about what you're fighting for the kid, how you trying to help the kid. Unless we get this out, this communication, and everybody not looking at you like you're crazy. Unless we get it out, we're sitting here stuck asking, how can we change it? How can we get the gun violence to stop? It don't work that way. You'll never be able to get it to stop. Like that's almost impossible. Only way we get it to stop is to stop making the guns. And then people will probably figure they'll start using slingshots. There's somebody come up with an advanced way to make a slingshot go back real fast and hit people in the head with a little rock. You know what I mean? Now we're not using guns, now we're using rocks and sticks and rubber bands. So somebody's always going to invent a different way to kill you when we invent something, when we take something else away. So I don't know, man. It's a lot of stuff that we have to do. And I'm super proud that you called me and you said you wanted to have this conversation. So
right, a real conversation, right.
Right. And I don't have no problem with it at all.
Yeah. Sometimes, just more prayer, and then I hope, Lieutenant Governor Davis, I hope, he keeps pushing it. Safer Communities Tour, because I don't think that ever happened before. Safer Communities Tour.
I didn't see the Safer. Did it come through Chester?
It came through Philly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta bring it through Chester. We need a conversation with the Lieutenant Governor. So yeah, come through Chester. Come talk to us. Come talk to Corey Long, man. Come talk to Raheem. Come talk to Melissa Muroff, the head of CPSN. I just want to sit in the room. You don't got to come and talk to me, but it's important. You feel me? That we get what we need to change. It's a lot of stuff we need to change. I see they're having a vigil for the overdosing victims out in media. I don't knock that at all, right? Because I feel like that's something that needs to be answered. But before they were overdosing, they were locking our moms and dads up for getting high. You feel me? They were putting them in prison, no problem. They had drug. We got tons of babies that were born under the influence of crack cocaine, right? Who are now having children that are being born under the influence of Percocets and Xanax. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having a child born under crack cocaine and now it's going to have a child that's born under weed, Percocet, and Xanax? Like, how many brain cells are left in that child? So then when the child gets upset, all because they can't tie their shoe? No, that's not fair. So I feel like there's tons of things that need to be addressed in the Black community. And first and foremost, comes the fathers not being here. So I need all the men to stand up, need all the men to come together. Let's save our children. Let's save our community. Shout out to Corey. I'm going to keep saying Corey Long making a change group, man, because what he's doing over there with G-Vine, man, is nothing short of amazing, right? He's taking men from the community, helping them to be a part of the community, giving them an opportunity to change their community. You feel me? And it took a lot. 19 years he been in the game, bro. 19 years. You feel me? And everybody said, well, how you know? I've been researching him for the last couple, you feel me? For the last couple months, I've been researching him. And just to know that, 19 years he's been in the game, bro, like, and trying to change his community. And now it's moving. Like I said, we got to come together. We got to support each other. Raheem doing the same thing. You know what I mean? With Safe Corridors, right? Doing the same thing. He's been rocking with Safe Corridors for a couple years now. You feel me? He cares about his community. He's giving people with not so stellar records an opportunity to change and make money and to care about the kids. You feel me? Like, you have to, when you go to, let's say you go to drug rehab. The person that's teaching you how to get over your addiction is an addict as well. You see, you can't have drug rehab without having addicts in there teaching people how to get over the pain that they feel from quitting the drug that they're hooked on. You can't have somebody that's never used drugs tell somebody to stop using drugs.
Right.
What the fuck you know about that?
Right.
How you gonna tell me to stop smoking coke? It feels so good. But somebody that has used it before can come to you and say, yo, listen, man, I know it feels good, but it feels so much better to be sober. It feels so much better to live your life right. You feel me? And whatever book you decide to claim, as your book, whether it be the Bible, whether it be the Quran, whether it be the Torah, whatever book you decide to claim as your book, rest your head on that joint. Rest your head on that joint and think about what's inside that book that's helping you get to where you're trying to get to. But addiction is nothing short of what we're dealing with in our communities.
Do you think legalizing marijuana will help or hurt the community even more with the drug selling?
I think legalizing all drugs. Legalizing all drugs. It was Belly. No, it wasn't Belly. What was that show that came on HBO? I can't think because I don't really get into the street shows because I'm out there. I ain't watching that. But and they legalized selling drugs. You know what I mean? And that was cool. The cops were in that area watching everything. The murders went down. So now it's legal. Everybody can sit over there. Nobody's worried about it. Everybody can be out here all day selling drugs. And that's where it is. Look at Amsterdam. Legal. Right? Nobody's worried about anything because it's legal. You can't get locked up. You ain't worried. You ain't got to make your money in this amount of time. You could be out there all day. I know that's not good for business. But, you can section off a part of the city and say, all right, this part of the city is legalized drug dealing. Prostitution, all that good stuff is over here. So if anybody see you coming out of that area, you was there for a reason. You know what I mean? Oh, no, my cousin live over there. No, your cousin don't live over there, bro. What was you doing? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's hard. And it's hard. And I'm not knocking anybody. I want to say, I want to give a huge shout out to my boss, Jack Stolzheimer, for caring about Chester the way that he does. For putting this program together to help Chester. Shout out to Tanner Rouse, and Matthew Krause, the first DA, Tanner, and Matthew, who's the assistant district attorney, for helping, the community come together, right? And we can look at it on the other side too, right? We have a lot of young men that are in the system because of these things, right? And we have to help them before they get to that point. It's hard to help somebody when they're already locked up. I've tried. Boy, have I tried, right? And it's hard. So try to get them before they get to that point where they don't care about themselves anymore. They don't care about anybody else. My godson is locked up right now, right? And I talk to him almost as often as I can. I know he was gonna call me today, and I can't accept his call, but that's financial problems, not because I don't love him. It's just there's issues. But I love him, and I go out there and I visit him and I talk to him and I tell him, get your GED, and we're gonna focus on getting you to college. When you get up there, take your college courses, improve on yourself while you're here. Do everything that you couldn't do in the street. He's Muslim now. He took his shahada. Then bow your head 7 times a day while you're in this joint. Ask for forgiveness, bro. Then write a letter and ask for forgiveness some more, because I know you're sorry. He's only 19 years old. So I know firsthand, I've lost brothers when I was in the street, homies when I was in the street, bullies when I was in the street. It all feel the same. It's somebody that you knew that's no longer here. They didn't have to necessarily do anything. It's just somebody wanted them out the way. It's hard. It's absolutely hard. So I don't know, Alim. I know we can't change anything until we try to change something. And the only thing that we can change is how our children digest guns. Not stop trying to make it seem like it's the bad guy, it's the boogeyman. You feel me? And teach them how to shoot a gun, how to embrace a gun.
Gun education.
Gun education is key.
Okay. So that's the point we're at now. Then not taking the guns completely off the street, because it seems like it's impossible to do that. But gun education. How
long have they been fighting to take the guns off the street? How old are you, Alim?
I'm in the millennial age group.
What age group is that? I'm 43.
Later 20s. Later 20s. I usually don't like to say my age. That's all.
Say, yeah, you're not a woman, man. Say your age, bro.
Later 20s. Later 20s.
Later 20s. All right, I'm gonna give you 30 years old. Right. Mm-hmm. When you were born, I don't think you were alive. There was a shooting at the Springfield Mall. What year were you born?
96.
Right. So there was a shooting in the Springfield Mall. I don't think you were alive then. Yeah. Mass shootings happen, violence happened, but guess who did the shooting at the Springfield Mall? A young white lady. Not black kids. You very, very rarely, I'm gonna say rarely because we had one the last couple of years, do we ever hear of anybody black going to the mall and shooting, or going into school and shooting, or being crazy?
That kidnapping at the
on button.
The Willow Grove. There was a kidnapping in Willow Grove. That was this year. That was black.
Right.
Whenever he kidnapped.
Like I said, very rarely. I didn't say it doesn't happen.
Right.
I said very rarely, right? We run into those, right? And majority of those happen, you feel me? Because people are upset. So guess what they'll do? They'll teach their kids how to hold guns and how to carry guns. And their kids have access to all types of guns. Dad got guns all in the. Guess what them kids don't do? Pick up the gun and go outside and hang out with their friends. Yeah. Don't carry this gun. If you carry this gun, you'll get locked up. Don't pull that gun out unless you plan on shooting it. Don't pull it out on anybody unless you plan on pulling the trigger. Those are the things that you teach a gun. You teach a child about a gun. This is the most powerful weapon you will ever hold in your hand. And if you abuse it, you'll hurt somebody. And then your life is over. So I wish we could remove the guns off the scene, but that's not gonna happen. As much as we go to Harrisburg, we go to Washington, and we say, here, put this bill in, get rid of the guns, get rid of the guns, get rid of the guns. How long have they been talking about that? Only to improve on the gun. That next year, get rid of this 9mm. Now we're going to add this button and turn this thing into a fully auto gun that shoots 50 bullets in 2.5 seconds. Don't seem like y'all listening to us when we come up here and ask y'all to, get rid of these guns. It seems like you're taking regular 9mm and turn them into semi-automatic weapons. You're right, Christy. What you do affects and affects others. What others do affects and affects you. And that's it's real simple. Teach your children how to carry a gun. Teach your children what that gun can do. Show your children and talk to your kids. Ask them how their day went. You don't have enough of that. Eat dinner with your kids. Sit around the dinner table, talk about. My kids get mad at me like, Dad, why you asking me all these questions? What you mean? I want to know. I need to know. How do you feel? What's going on? What's wrong? What happened? Who did what? You got a problem with somebody at your school? Oh, guess what? 9 times out of 10, Chester is so small. 9 times out of 10, you know they parent. I'm gonna call his dad. Hey, what's up, Mark? We need to talk, man. We got beef in the school. Your son and my son. Oh, yeah. All right, we can meet at the park. And at the end of the day, if they want to fight, we let them fight. Whoever wins, wins. All right, now let's go get a water ice. Y'all done? Y'all good? This is how men handle their situations. If you don't like something and they're not willing to move, we fight over it. Whoever wins, that person won. Or we can play a game of basketball. First one to 21. Get them to exert their energy. Once they're at a weakened point, they scramble for breath, I guarantee they be like, man, I ain't worried about that no more. I'm good. Yeah, exactly. But we don't have enough men in the community. So I'm calling all men, bro. I'm calling all men to stand up in your community. I'm calling all men from Chester. I'm calling all men from Upper Darby. I'm calling all men to stand up in your community, man. Check on your sons, bro. Check on your son's friends, bro. Check on your godson's friends, bro. Check on your godson. Call your son. Call your godson. Call whatever man. Call your nephew. Call your uncle. You can have an uncle that's a little bit younger than you. Like, call your uncle. Talk to your uncle. You feel me? Like, communication. Communication solves about 100% of the problems that we have. If we don't talk about it, it's just going to continue to get worse.
Right. Positive communication.
Right.
Not a lot of drama all the time.
Right.
Like, you know, sometimes stuff can be solved. It's petty stuff sometimes. And it's still like that. Still. Right. It's our people.
Right. Yeah.
You're right. And gun education. That's what I got from you.
Yep. Constructive communication, bro. Right. Building your child up. Right. Not destroying their dreams. Giving them hopes. Giving their wants. Giving them wishes. Like I said, I always wanted to be a radio personality when I was younger. And it wasn't until I knew I had like screwed my life up big time. So I never thought I would make it past 37. My dad died when he was 37. I was 12. I got 37 years old, and I was like, oh shit, what I'm going to do? I'm still here. You feel me? Like, damn, I gotta switch up. I gotta change some things. I don't want my son to die. I don't want my son to get shot. There's nothing else that this game of life can give him but death. Right? Because the sins of the father are passed down to who? The son. I don't want my son to get none of these sins. I'm gonna stand in the way of it. I'm responsible for all of this. I did this, I did that. I don't have a problem with telling anybody what I've done. Because none of it was good. I'm not highlighting. I'm not saying I was proud of it. I'm just saying I don't have a problem with having a conversation with a kid that's having a tough road and telling them, man, bro, I made it through that. I'm trying to help you so you don't have to make it through that. Look at me. Well, Hov said, Hov did that. So hopefully you don't have to go through that. You feel me? Like, I did that. So you don't have to do that. I understand what it takes to change. I am the epitome of what it takes to change. If you would have met me 6 years ago, you wouldn't have wanted to stand next to me or have a conversation with me. And I probably wouldn't want to have a conversation with you. But I've evolved to a point where I'm willing to have a conversation with anybody. I'm willing to talk about anything. And we need the women to allow the men to come back. We need the women to take advantage of the men standing up and go after their young daughters and tell their daughters right from wrong. These are the things that we need as a community. This is how a community is forged. It is a village at the end of the day. Every community is a village, and you're going to have lighter people, you're going to have darker people, you're going to have fat people, you're going to have skinny people, you're going to have tall people, you're going to have short people, you're going to have all types of people inside the community. But we have to stick together. We have to support each other. That's how we win. I was watching something the other day where they were talking about Martin Luther King's speech and how that speech was about us as black people spending money with each other and holding our money back from spending it with the big corporations that were taking advantage of our children, that were taking advantage of us. It wasn't just about him having a dream. It was about financial freedom. I have to go back and listen to that speech so I can hear his words. I have to go back and listen to some Malcolm X speeches so I can hear his words, because these were our leaders. These were the people that were leading us into the next generation. They were killed. They were taken away from us because they were too bright. They were showing us how to be leaders. They were showing us how to take over. So until we get back to them and listen to them and use those words today, we'll continue to be lost. There's a reason Napoleon went and shot the nose off the Sphinx, bro. Because the nose probably looked just like yours, Alim. You understand what I'm saying? Like, just like yours. They didn't want us to believe that. We were the first people. We were great. That we could change things just by sticking together. The fear that they have for us. That's why they do what they do. And I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying that all white people are bad. I'm just saying the ones that know they are. The ones that you know are. You can have a conversation. If you're willing to have a conversation and they're willing to talk to you and willing to tell you why they did what they did, okay, that's somebody that's willing to be accountable. But if they're not willing to talk to you and they shut the door in your face, they slam the door in your face, they talk about you when you turn your back, no, then that's what I'm talking about.
That's the problem with a little bit in the black community, though. We talk too much negativity behind our back. I watched some clip, when you see those snippets on Facebook or something, and then it was Kevin Gates, and he was saying, like, our community, we shoot each other all the time, we're against each other all the time, and we talk about all this bad stuff behind our back all the time. That's another thing, and that's all age groups too. That's the thing, like our people and stuff, like, the trash talk. It's just a lot of trash talk. And it's sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's cute, but then it's just like it gets to a point where it's like, don't put somebody down, don't talk too much, about them, because then they're gonna, like you said, you're crushing their dream, you're crushing their personnel. Like, it's too much trash talking sometimes.
You are your own individual. Right. Shouldn't nobody be able to crush your dreams but you, right? I've been, like I said, I'm gonna keep going on me. I've been doing this thing for 6 years. I have to give myself up. The post that I post on Facebook, that ain't for nobody else. That's for me. You feel me? When I say I'm thankful and grateful every morning, that's for me. When I say if nobody told you I love you, that's for me. When I say my affirmations, that's for me. I'm not worried about what nobody else say about nobody else or how anybody else feels about anybody else, because I'm worried about how I feel about me. And so because I'm strong enough in who I am and I believe so much in what I believe in, I'm willing to share that with anybody, bro. You share good, positive energy with people, bro, they can't give you negative energy back. And when they try to, they learn that they can't, and then they break off. It's like the leaves on the tree, they fall. Guess what? New leaves pop right back out in the spring. And they fall again, and they pop right back out. So sometimes you just stay positive. Give good energy. I don't let nobody create a narrative about me. You feel me? And if they do create a narrative about me, don't nobody bring it back to me. They know Pierre gonna be like, all right, well, congratulations. Did you believe him? Did you believe her? All right, well, that's good. Move forward. I have work to do. So the only narrative I believe about me is that I ain't never gonna give up. And I posted the other day, I'm not gonna stop until I win. And it's not just me and that I. That I and I is for me, but it's for us. You need to see somebody win. You need to see somebody keep going and not give up. You need to see somebody coming from where you come from that was a drug dealer, that went to jail, that came home, that they couldn't get a job, that couldn't do this, that couldn't do that, to get a job, to evolve, to start a radio station, to get another job, to evolve, to get another job and evolve. Then you know that it's possible, that you can do it without selling drugs, that you can do it without all the extra shit, that you can just go to school, pay attention, gain the knowledge, and go to college and do what you want to do and be great. But until it was created, you couldn't see that. You had no idea. So yeah, I use the people that are famous for their words and the people that are famous for the things that they do as inspiration. But I don't allow what they say to for me to follow it down the street, if that makes sense. I'm not going to follow them blindly because again, I'm a leader. I'm not a follower.
Well, I appreciate this conversation.
No, no
This was a
problem,
good
bro.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, you called me. You said you were. I was supposed to be interviewing you. You feel me? So
Yeah.
what are you doing in Upper Darby? Like what is going on up there, and what got you into trying to change or
You
change?
know, it all to be honest with you, it all comes from my father's nonprofit. It's called Race for Peace Committee. So then he saw some change in his eye with Sandra Bland back in the day, and then he wanted to start something to help our communities in Delco, Bucks, all the counties, and then try to have a better relationship with the police officers. That's his way of like striking and putting the less negativity with the police. And then now I'm involved with Don Jackson's thing. That's urban navigation to help the ATV dirt bike riders that give some young men and women the music production, video game production. He's out Old Kensington, Philadelphia, Billy Penn Studios. And
Okay.
then the third one is Men of Action, Brothers of Faith. And then the president of the Upper Darby School Board, Edward Brown, he runs that. And then that's usually at Darby Recreation Center where they have basketball games for the community. And then a lot of men show up to that, and then that's about that. And then it's having mentorship, and like you keep putting and saying, just positivity with our young people.
Right.
And so that's basically what I do. I'm like an activist and an advocate, and I participate in those organizations sometimes, and now and then, and then yeah, that's what basically. But the main one is trying to solve less negativity with these police officers, because gun violence, everything goes back to politics and police. The two P's: politics, police, politics, police. It all goes back to that. So then, at first I didn't get the vision, better relationship with the police, and we're black, and then I was just like, well, if we do events like basketball games and ice skating and barbecues, I can see that, because even when they're in or out of uniform at those type of events, it's just like, oh, the police ain't that bad. They're not all against us. There's good cops and there's bad cops. And then, so that's that thing.
So when I asked you to do a show to talk about the people that you know in your area, what did you think?
A lot of stuff happens in Upper Darby, it seems like, with our government, and then things will go surpass. I talked to a few people from the Delco Times. They were saying to me, stuff happens and things move forward, life goes on. If this is just today's news, but it just seems like it's so much divide in our political government. I think they need to like get along a little bit better, and then and then out. That's what I think for all political governments. They need to like put their heads together and brainstorm more ideas instead of like going against each other's opinion. Like me and you were talking right now, agree to disagree, but then you see I came around to the gun education part. I was like, oh, I'm starting to get it. I really get the guns off the street. That's my thing. But then you said, well, we've been doing that, and then you need to learn what is this about gun education. I said, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. We came to a compromise. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, the government, it's like, it's scandalous. It's like, it's just a little bit, but yeah.
Well, those people that are in government that are scandalous are put there by us at the end of the day, right? And that's what I'm saying, right? If black people really came together, you feel me, throughout Delaware County, right? If you're running for a state senator or a situation that we came together and said, all right, this is the person we want in. This person speaks for us. This person understands our trials, our tribulations, and can go up there and do a hell of a job for us. If we do that throughout the country of the United States, much like what Trump did, you feel me? He went to the rural. Oh, yeah, I'm redneck, and I can't stand. And he went right into there. He don't fit in with those people. The people that are supportive of Trump are not millionaires, bro. They're not the billionaires. They're people that live in trailer parks that sit out there and drink beer all day. They just happy to be able to say they fool with somebody that's in government. They're happy to be able to say he's going to make America great again. He just got indicted. They still want him to run. That's power, bro. We have that power amongst the black people, but we don't come together. We don't stick together. We don't agree to disagree. Like you said, you know what? You're right. I'm kind of right, but I think you're right now on this point. I'll catch you on the next one. You feel me? No, you going to disagree. Well, I'm off this joint. And end your joint and be like, man, I ain't messing with CMP ever again. Why? Because you didn't agree with something I said? There's no reason to act like that. Grow a pair. You feel me? Like, that's what I would say, but, people are different. I know it's hard to accept someone in your position, in my position. Accepting someone's point of view as truth is hard because then that diminishes our point of view. You know what I mean? And sometimes we have to just share each other's point of view, hit it back and forth, and then say, you got some points in your joint, you got some points, let's bring it together, let's make it work. Now, oh yeah, I get that now. Now that makes sense. You feel me? And we don't have that until we have communication. So again, Alim, I'm asking you, I don't want to beg you, but I'm asking you, let's do a show where you are the host and you're going out here and you're interviewing the brothers in your community in Upper Darby. You feel me? In your community outside of Philly. You can get some politicians on here too. You feel me? But let's put this together, right? Because I'm not from your area. You feel me? But I believe that cultivating mature positivity, that's what CMP stands for, needs to be done everywhere. You feel me? Constantly making progress needs to be said everywhere. Changing media's perspective, we need to be doing that everywhere. So I want you to do a show. You feel me? I'm going to talk to you after we're done with this joint, but this is my invite. I'm making it public so everybody understands what's about to happen. This was not something that you said you even had an idea you wanted to do. You just wanted to come through here and talk. You mentioned What's News Delco. Shout out to Melita and Diamond. You feel me? And I told you to come on my show. You mentioned the Cut Up podcast. I said, you might not want to go on their joint because they cut up for real. But bringing the subject to where it needs to go out to make sure the message is reaching everyone in the community, right? So whatever you want, bro. I'm cool. You can do your shows like this via StreamYard. You feel me? No problem. You interview who you interview. I'll sit in the background. You feel me? And make sure it happens the way it's supposed to go down. So think about that. You feel me? I think it'll be good for your neck of the woods. You feel me? It'll be good for your community. You can meet up with Diamond and Melita and do it with them. You feel me? Whatever kind of help you need, you feel me? I'm here to give it to you.
I appreciate that, babe. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you good?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks again for having me on. I appreciate you accepting it. Yeah.
No problem, bro. Anytime, man. I'm here for the community. So any way I can help you out, that's anybody, right? I'm not trying to knock anybody for what they're doing. I can't do this thing by myself. I've said it countless times. You feel me?
Oh, have you ever been to the Delaware County Community College? You could probably go up there and try to push your show a little bit more with the students. I know you're at Chester High and
right.
the middle schools and stuff, but try to get to the college. The people.
I don't have the time, Alim.
Yeah.
Literally, this is what I'm telling you. I'm in so many different things. So
okay,
I just got a job Friday. I'll be working with the PA Humanities Council, right? That's a big situation. I'm in charge of community programs. You feel me? So I ain't got the time to be at the radio station doing this full time. You feel me?
Yeah, I get you.
My brother, he's gonna come through. He's gonna help me engineer some shows. You feel me? And my sister, she's gonna take over the station. But I wanted to keep going, right? What's up, Chef Lamont? How you feeling? And there are different people in my community, right, that I would love to talk to get them to come through, bring their show back here, right? It's a radio station. It's for everyone. It's not just for who I like. I'm not going to sit here and say I like every show. I do, because I like everybody on the show, right? But, we can have a disagreement and come back and do business. It's no problem. I think the problem is just paying for it. And I'm over that. I'm not charging anybody. I'm not going to say I'm not going to charge anybody any money, but if you have a show and I feel like it's good, but your show is good, I don't have a problem with giving it to you for free. And we can talk about that.
Cool. All right. Thanks again. I appreciate you.
No problem, bro. I appreciate you, man. You calling me made me come on live and get this done. I haven't talked like this in a long time. You
Yeah,
feel me?
yeah.
So I appreciate you giving me this platform. You feel me? And the reason to come on here and talk, man. This is Uncle P. This is neighborhood conversation, and we trying to figure out what's going on in Upper Darby. So, what do you think is, other than the guns? What is your pet peeve up there in Upper Darby? Right?
Township, you know what I'm saying? It's Delaware County. You know, anywhere you live, you just got to make it the best you can. But like, I try not to get too involved with the politics stuff, but just it's just it just seems like it's so divided with the council people up there and the mayor and stuff. I'm not gonna say anything about the news and stuff, but you know, it just seems like they're all in divide. And sometimes when you compare one township to another, like you compare Upper Darby Township to Haverford Township, from Haverford Township to Lower Marion Township, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like their council people, commissioners, they're not in the news that much, yelling at each other and just, you know, being so negative towards one another. I'm like, why don't y'all just, you know, try to get the community involvement and just keep brainstorming ideas? It just seems like every other week they're in the news for something negative up in Darby.
You got the one
for the government.
You got the one Upper Darby. The baby in Upper Darby was still in the change out the parking meters.
Well, that's all over. Yeah, that's all over the place.
I'm not shocked. Like, I'm sure the person that was in the job before her was doing the exact same thing, right? They just never looked. They just never looked, and that'd be the problem. But yeah, I think you grabbing the microphone, man, and you being who you are for your community through CMPRadio.net, that might force some people to load up and ride out with you. You feel me? You had mentioned earlier when we were on the phone, you was like, why don't I run? I can't do politics. And I don't do politics because you can't change anything once you get involved with politics. You do more changing outside in the community. Once you get the community to change, the politicians have to change. You feel me? Because there's more people in your community that are aware. You feel me? So I'm not going to go in the politics wanting to change anything for the community if they're not about the community. They're not going to stroke me out. You feel me? So I'll stay in the community. I'll keep fighting. I'll put my boots on the ground. We'll keep asking for things. We'll keep demanding things. You know, I think Pac said it. Yeah, first they say they hungry. Then they get louder. Yo, we hungry. Next thing we kick it in the door. You feel me? And that's how it works. That's the only way it can work. So I appreciate the interview. You interviewed me, bro. I didn't interview you. So
yeah, I wanted to pick your brain and say, yeah.
Right. I appreciate the interview. And like I said, man, think about it. You feel me? We come up with a flyer. We call it, we call it Neighborhood Conversations with Alim. You can have that show. You can have my show, right? It was Neighborhood Conversations with Uncle P. Neighborhood Conversations with Alim, man. I appreciate you, bro. You're of that generation that needs to care. You feel me? Like you said, you was born like 1996, so you about 20, 27 years old. You feel me? Like, so I get that. I understand that. So whatever you need from me, I'm here. What up, Ray? You good?
I'm good. Thanks again, Pig.
No problem, bro. Be safe.
Bye-bye.